I remember when I was a little girl and my family was taking a drive in the mountains, my father noticed I had become very quiet. "What is it you are thinking about?" he asked. And very seriously, I answered him, "I'm taking pictures in my mind." Laughing out loud, he answered me jokingly, "Well, you better not run out of film." I have many vivid memories from my childhood, which I see as a gift. And even from that same day, I can still recall some of the so-called pictures I took in my mind. When I wasn't even old enough yet to own my own camera, I was already an artist and photographer at heart. Now, fast forward to me as an adult. I've never even taken a photography or an art class, and for many of those years, since the day my family took that drive, I stopped taking pictures. In fact, for many years, I stopped taking time to do anything creative in my daily life at all. You might say I ran out of film. I know I'm not alone. People say they're too busy, or sadly, many think they're not creative at all. I disagree. Inspiration and beauty are everywhere, and anyone can be creative. We just need to learn or relearn how to see it. And with powerful creative tools that we always have with us, there's no reason why we can't exercise our creativity wherever we go and whenever we feel inspired. For me, 3 things brought me back. Number 1, my own babies were born. Number 2, I chose a career teaching children. And number 3, I got an iPhone. First, when my own children arrived, they became my muses. They reawakened a part of me that I had forgotten. As they were discovering and seeing the world for the very first time, I was rediscovering it. I was absolutely astounded at the incredible beauty I was noticing again, and completely ashamed of myself for losing touch with it. I realized my most precious possession was my baby book, where my childhood was preserved in photographs. It meant a lot to me that my parents had taken the time to do it, and I began to see photos as a form of affection. They are messages that say, "You are important. This moment will pass, but I want to remember it, capture it, hold on to it." When the world went digital, taking them got much easier, but I then realized that I had hundreds of photos and absolutely no idea how to get them from my camera to the baby books. Running out of film was not the problem. And this began a new learning journey for me that led me here today. And as a classroom teacher, I realized that I'm teaching children who are growing up in a very different world than I knew, and I'm constantly being reminded of this. I told them in my day we played board games, which sounded boring to them. "No, they're board games," I corrected them. "Not board games." When I introduced Pictionary, the word that came up was Walkman. "What's a Walkman?" my student asked. "You know, in my day, we used it to listen to music. It's like an iPod, but instead of downloading music, we had to use a cassette." And of course, her next question was, "What's a cassette?" Gadgets like these are still around, but they have definitely evolved and can do much more than play music. If you give kids unstructured playtime, it looks something like this. And we say, "Go outside, shoo, get some fresh air. It's a beautiful day." And then they do this. For a long time, I was extremely resistant. Adults are even worse, constantly texting, checking email, Facebook. It seems they're missing the here and now and so absorbed in their screens that they are oblivious to everything else. Eventually, I gave up, and I got my first iPhone. But a curious thing happened. I was pleasantly surprised. These mobile devices are not just for consuming media. They are very powerful creative tools. And with my camera always in my pocket, I took even more pictures, and eventually much better pictures. Not just of my kids, but of all the other beauty I was noticing. And with access to powerful photo editing apps, I could transform my images into anything I could imagine. Soon I wasn't only taking pictures in my mind, I was making them in my mind. As a result, my family spends more time outdoors. On more than one occasion, I made my husband carry a ladder to the peak of a mountain just so I could get the perfect silhouette. We involve the kids, and I have to admit, sometimes we get a little carried away. Next, I discovered social media, a great resource for inspiration. And when I posted my work online, people gave me feedback and encouragement, motivating me to continue. I learned more about art and photography than in any class I could have ever taken. The ability to create digital media is truly powerful. And as a teacher who spends my day with digital natives, I saw the relevance of how these skills could make learning more meaningful for my students. So instead of banning mobile devices at school, I encouraged it. And the kids came with all kinds of recycled cell phones and tablets, but the one thing that they all had in common was a built-in camera. So we started taking short photo walks and going outside more often. And each time we did, we'd look for certain things like leaves or bare trees, shapes, numbers, textures, or colors, or we challenge ourselves to photograph our subjects from very different perspectives. On our favorite photo walk, we took pictures of each other jumping. Great exercise, and we never laughed so hard or had so much fun. But more than anything, I want them to love life and to love learning. It's not just me teaching them. Through creative expression, I can learn from them too. And through our photo walks, I hope they will become curious and more creative. I'd like to think Sir Ken Robinson would approve. He says that schools are killing creativity, but we say, not in our classroom. I realize that not everyone takes great photos just because they have a smartphone in their pocket. There are a billion awful photos on Instagram to prove that point. Creating beautiful images takes time and attention, but with some practice, any one of us can do it. And more important than taking the picture is seeing it. Slow down. Look at everything. Take photo walks. Spend more time with children. Take photos of them and with them. Learn from them and their perspective, and while you do, give them your full and undivided attention. Stop to smell the roses. Life is beautiful, and whether or not you are inspired to use your camera phone like me, you can still learn from that little girl. You can take pictures in your mind. Don't hesitate. Either way, you won't run out of film.